right, so now one of the things that we have is when we make a change to our networking environment, we need to ensure that we maintain our network documentation. Now, this consists of two things. One is a data flow diagram, and the other one is a network diagram. So if you're going to be making a change to your networking environment, we want to make sure that you keep these documents appropriately updated. Now, this doesn't mean just changing the date, right? As an assessors, we often come into your environment and we'll look at the documentation and see that the date is current. But understand that just because you change the date doesn't necessarily mean the network diagram is current. So we're looking for evidence of your processes and your procedures around maintaining the documentation. Ideally, what we look for in a perfect world is that you have some type of tie into your change control program. That change control would be held open until such time that the network documentation is appropriately updated. Now, this network diagram should also be considered of all assets or types, at least types of assets within your environment. With the cloud that we have, the networking clouds that we have today, such as Amazon or Microsoft Azure, those network site or the number of assets often will wax and wane. From an assessment perspective, what we're looking for is that you fully understand where your assets are at, how the connections into and out of those environments exist, right? And define where are the methods and means that you're using for controlling that traffic. So we look for, as part of this network documentation, we look for several things exist. We look to examine where your firewalls and routers exist. We look to see that if you have wireless devices, whether they're in scope or not, if you have wireless in your environment, they need to be demonstrated on that network diagram. Now, the purpose for this is that if you're being assessed against the PCI standards, there's a requirement that says that you have to have a firewall between your cardholder data environment and your wireless access points. So we look for that as assessors. Okay. So this network diagram should also demonstrate where your IPS and IDS is. We need to see that those are standing in front of the network and those other areas that you might determine as being critical within your environment. The whole point of this, of having network diagrams and data flow diagrams, is so that your organization, your staff can fully understand where those assets are at that need to be protected. If you don't know where your assets are at, chances are you're not appropriately protecting them.